Thanks for listening to talknorth.com, and thanks to our sponsor, Bite Squad, bitesquad.com, or on the Bite Squad app. Our special deal this weekend is celebrating the Gopher women's volleyball team making it to the NCAA tournament and celebrating their first-round games. Use promo code GophersVB. Obviously, it's in volleyball. GophersVB, all one word, starting on Thursday night, running through Sunday night. You will get 10% off of your order. It will work one time for anybody this weekend. Gophers VB at bitesquad.com or on the Bite Squad app. Thanks again to our listeners who participate in these Bite Squad specials, and thanks, of course, to Bite Squad, bitesquad.com. Food for your mood delivered. John doesn't look tired. He's not acting like he's tired, but he's got to be tired after spending the entire weekend, and I mean the entire weekend at U.S. Bank Stadium covering the Prep Bowl, which was fascinating as usual. This is Preps Today with John Millea. John Millea works for mshsl-org. You can find John's journal there. You can find him on various media outlets around the town, but this is where we kind of do a deep dive on everything that's happening around the state and take our time with it. Thanks to everybody who listens to talknorth.com. Please email me if you'd like to advertise with this program, jsouhan47@gmail.com. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. And please download before you listen if you know how to do that. I'm still figuring it out, but it's a better listening experience. It's good for us as well. Let's start with the Prep Bowl, John.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start with the Prep Bowl?
Let's, I'm a little worn out. I'm a little worn down, but, 7 games in 2 days is nothing compared to the previous weekend.
That's true.
14 games in 3 days. That's
true.
That's the one I always tell people. If I can make it through that, the Prep Bowl is a piece of cake because it's
a lot of pretzels.
It's a lot of pretzels. It's a lot of football. I think I went back and counted up. I saw 35 high school football games this year, but 21 of them over 2 weekends inside the stadium. So, yeah, I was talking to Jeff Williams, the Owatonna coach, after they won their state championship, and I said, "Hey, that was as good a game as I've seen, and I've seen 35 of them." And he went, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, most of them were right here these last 2 weekends."
Right.
But no, it's always a great time in there. We all know how great the stadium is. We left some good luck for the Vikings on Sunday night against the Packers. That worked out well. But I'll just run through the 7 state championship games here in order, starting from 9-man. Spring Grove wins back-to-back championships. They beat Mountain Lake area 40-18. And how about Alex Foles? Everybody calls him the Spring Grove quarterback, which he is. And, he's a 3 or 4 year starter. Finished his high school football career just fantastically. Carried the ball 30 times for 257 yards and 4 touchdowns, including 88 and 50-yard runs for touchdowns. Completed 10 and 19 passes for 90 yards. He kicked off 7 times. He kicked 3 extra points. He punted twice. And he was Spring Grove's number 2 tackler in the game, Alex Foles. And we've known about him for a while. I don't know if he was maybe 13 years old. He was a national punt, pass, and kick champion. And the big question afterwards was, where are you going to college? And I talked to him about this. He doesn't know yet. He hasn't received any offers. And that's part of that is he plays 9-man football. He's 5'10", maybe. But what a tremendous athlete. And, I've seen him play baseball. He's a tremendous baseball player. He's a great basketball player. He could be one of these 2-sport small college kids. But after the game, the Mountain Lake coach just talked about some schools got to grab this kid right now to play football because he's such a smart.
Who is it? Vander Esch, the Dallas Cowboys linebacker. He comes from a small school, I think 9-man football background, and he's a great player.
Chad Greenway, South Dakota, small school football. Alex isn't Chad Greenway's size, but really smart, really hard-nosed, really a fun kid to watch over a course of a few years. And And Mountain Lake, boy, they had a great season getting to the Prep Bowl. They were undefeated until this game against Spring Grove. And their quarterback, Abe Stays, he's kind of like Alex Foles. He ran the ball 21 times for 241 and a couple of touchdowns, and completed 12 of 27 passes for 68 yards and a touchdown. So two dominant quarterbacks in the 9-man game. In 1A, Mahnomen-Waubun 22, Bold 21. Really interesting story with Mahnomen-Waubun. These were separate football teams previously till this year, and they co-opt, and they're only 12 miles apart up off Highway 59 in northwest Minnesota. I've not been to a game in Waubun. I've driven past. I've been to a game in Mahnomen, and serious football up there. So this was their first year, and they win it all. And Mahnomen has won this thing a lot. I mean, they've been to state, I think, 26 times before this year. Oh, yeah, I've got my notes here. They've won 8 state titles. The most recent was 4 years ago. Waubun was kind of a 9-man powerhouse. They went to state 2015 and 16, so they team up this year and win that state championship as the Thunderbirds. And really had a good crowd. That was really fun. 2A, no shock, Caledonia wins it again. I think this is 4 in a row for them. And 53 wins in a row, which is apparently, who knows for sure, but apparently the current longest winning streak in the nation in high school football. And they led 7-0. This was a close game against Barnesville. Caledonia led 7-0, and they scored 14 points within 61 seconds in the fourth quarter, and the big punch came when Peyton Schott returned an interception 43 yards for a touchdown. So Caledonia keeps rolling. That's a great football school there. In 3A, Rochester Lourdes beats Fairmont 24-7. That's 5 state championships for Lourdes. And their big guy was Zach Jungles. He carried 27 times for 233 and 2 touchdowns. And both of his scores came in the fourth quarter, 50 and 22 yards. This is interesting. Fairmont actually had one more total yard than Rochester Lourdes, 339 to 338. Just couldn't get it in the end zone, other than the one time when they scored on a 56-yard pass from Garrett Myron to Thomas Johnson. In 4A, SMB beats Wilmer 44-18. This was a hot Twitter topic. What's SMB? It's another co-op team. It's St. Paul Academy, Minnehaha Academy, and Blake. And anybody who knows high school basketball in Minnesota knows the name Jalen Suggs, one of the top basketball recruits in the country.
Saw him play with you last year.
Yeah, he's the quarterback for SMB. And completed 9 of 11 for 216 and 3 scores. They throw the ball deep. He rushed for a touchdown. The big play of Jalen Suggs, though, was a 97-yard interception return for another touchdown. And for Wilmer, Dre Dirksen completed 10 of 19 for 149 and 2 scores. And there's a lot of angst when people see a team like this winning a state championship. How is this fair? How can 3 schools form their one football team? How is that fair? Well, part of it is they didn't have enough kids for football. None of them. This is what I'm told. They didn't have the numbers. They got to go together here. And there's a process they go through in the high school league office. There's a ton of paperwork. Has to be approved. This one was approved. And they're playing 4A football. These are like, in basketball, Minnehaha is a 2A school. They're playing 4A football. You got the total enrollment for all 3 schools is used for what class they'll be in. So there's your answer to that. I didn't get into that on Twitter with a lot of people who asked good questions. Some of them, maybe a little out of hand, but that's okay. That's been known to happen on Twitter. It's easy to scream.
It does happen. Yes. We're familiar with that.
In 5A, Owatonna beat St. Thomas Academy 14-3. And we all have heard of Jason Williamson from Owatonna. He's going to play at the University of Minnesota. The kid is unbelievable. He had touchdowns of 71 and 44 yards. This was back-to-back championships for the Huskies. And the first touchdown was amazing. He kind of hit the line, and there are 3 or 4 guys on him, and he spun, put one hand on the ground, somehow broke free. There's just no way to explain it, how he got out of these, 3-4 guys and goes 71 yards. And we thought this would come down to a battle of great running backs because St. Thomas Academy has another one of those, Brendan McFadden. He was kind of held in check, 30 carries for 105 yards. Both of these defenses are outstanding. Their offense has got all the pub, but really good defense. And Jason Williamson, his 71-yarder was on the ESPN Plays of the Day that night. And also we saw it at halftime of the Vikings-Packers game on NBC. Another thing they did during the game was they recognized the state champions in Minnesota football. They showed the team photos of all the championship teams with their trophies, except one. They forgot about Spring Grove, and boy, did Twitter erupt during that. It was, what are you going to do? I mean, I don't have Chris Collins. I can't text him, and I don't know who's working. That was all set up beforehand. Everybody feels bad for Spring Grove. That's not right, but. Kind of cool to see all those Minnesota highlights and teams on Sunday Night Football. And the big boys in 6A, Lakeville North beats Eden Prairie 28-20. That was the second time North beat Eden Prairie this year. They beat them in week 2, 14-0. And this was Ollie Frazier, Jim. This game was just what we expected. Big, strong boys and just back and forth. And North had been the team to beat ever since week 2 when they knocked off the Eagles. And Rajah Nelson scored 2 touchdowns. And it was really fun. It's the first state football title for North. When the school was Lakeville High School, they won it 3 times. That was before Lakeville South opened in 2005. But really, that was a fun night. Tim Walls, our incoming governor, was there, and I was chatting with him before this game started, and he said 16 years ago to the day, he was an assistant football coach at Mankato West when they won their first state championship in the Metro.
Wow! Look at you hobnobbing with big timers.
That's right.
And let's piggyback on that to talk about some of our favorite. This is corny, but some of our favorite big timers. Gourmet Parlor Pizza out of Royalton, Minnesota. They can help you with fundraising. They can provide you with good pizza for your family. They provide gluten-free crusts, which I really appreciate, and they are now appearing in grocery stores around the state. Of course, what we really push on this program is the ability to fundraise with Gourmet Parlor Pizza, but it's good food wherever you find it or however you use it.
Sure is, Jim. If you want to give it a try, check out your local Cub, Coburn's, or Kowalski's, because they have their pizzas in the freezers at select stores in those chains. But yeah, that's their specialty, fundraising for school groups, sports groups, robotics teams, school parties, prom party, planning for prom and graduation parties is coming up, and everything, anything you want to do fundraising for. Could be your local Legion Club or VFW, whatever it is. Gourmet Parlor Pizza up in Royalton's the place to go. They have more than 30 items that you can choose from. You'll make money on every one of them, from $3 to more than $5 per item. It's an easy delivery. It's all sorted. It's ready to go, and you can find them at gourmetparlorpizza.com. You can give them a call at 888-584-5930. Or, as I said, go online and find gourmetparlorpizza.com. They're great people. They'll do great things for you.
Absolutely. Do we want to resume with Prep Bowl stuff?
One more little Prep Bowl item. Everybody in southeast Minnesota is very proud. That's Section 1. In high school sports, our state is divided into 8 sections, and the 8 section champions go to state. So we got 4 of the 7 state champions from Section 1, and actually 6A, the system's different. So 6 of these classes use the same system, and 4 of the champions are from Section 1, Spring Grove, Caledonia, Rochester, Lourdes, and Owatonna. That says something about football in southeast Minnesota.
Wow. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, great stuff working on the Prep Bowl all for the entirety of the last 2 weekends, and congratulations to all the teams that participated. Not just the winners. It's a great thing for any high school team just to make it to US Bank Stadium and get to play there. It's such a cool experience.
And that's what everybody said, even the kids who didn't win or lost in the semifinals, how great it was.
Yeah.
This is where the Super Bowl was. The Final Four is going to be there in a few months. Really a great experience for everybody. And equally for the fans, I think.
Absolutely.
To get in there for $16, and it's fantastic. And sit in the front row, sit in those, $2,000 seats for $16 and cheer for your boys. It's awesome.
It's a great deal. Listen, I covered the NFL, and I've covered the NFL off and on since 1989. I've been in pretty much every football stadium in America, and I think US Bank Stadium is the best.
Yeah, it's the only. We have one issue we had this year on the Viking side of the field. That lower section, the main section closest to the field, is built for people going down before a game and everybody coming out after. So when we have fans leaving from one game and fans for the next game wanting to come in, it's a traffic jam. There's one little hallway everybody has to go through. And people rightfully were upset that they couldn't go to their seats and be ready for their game. Right. Some fans were not in their seats at kickoff. It's a bad system. And we worked with the people from our office, worked with the stadium people. hopefully we'll find a remedy. But it's an architectural thing, is what it is.
Yeah.
You just can't. It's really hard to have 4,000 people going in while 4,000 people are coming out. It's just not built that way. It's kind of restrictive travel-wise, but we'll get through it.
And that's my only complaint about Viking games, because